All right, this week had a number of developments pertaining to the Biden administration's vaccination mandate, also a new mask requirement taking effect tomorrow in our local schools. Join us now to break down the latest vaccination news is Harry Nelson. He's a healthcare attorney and a friend of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. So on Thursday, a state senator in California introduced a bill that would allow children 12 and older to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or other diseases without their parents' knowledge or consent. If it passes, would that measure stand up to legal challenges?
So, Kate, the state of California has the power, if that Senator Scott Wiener bill passes, to allow 12-year-olds and up, 12 to 17-year-olds, to get vaccinated without parent consent. We actually have laws in California that already allow 12 and up to get certain sexually transmitted disease-related vaccines, like for hepatitis B and HPV. And there are a number of states that have similar laws. States have the power to do this. Alabama does it to 14. Oregon allows 15 and up to get vaccinated. South Carolina, Rhode Island, 16 and up. But you know, the real question here, I think, is one of politics. They have the power to do it, but the danger here is that this is going to be a very polarizing issue. We saw in November that parents' rights was an issue that was a losing one for the Democrats in states like Virginia. And so this may be one where the state of California has the power to do it, but it ends up being something that gets held up to show a disregard for parents' rights. So I think it might be a political loser, even though it's legal.
Doctors say these vaccines are safe and effective, that they are a necessary step if we are ever going to turn this into an endemic instead of a pandemic and get life back to normal. On Friday, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said that the agency is going to pivot its language when it comes to vaccinations. Before, they suggested the definition of fully vaccinated would have to change. Right now, it means 2 doses of the initial vaccine. Now it might also imply boosters. Walensky said that will instead be called up to date. What do you think about this changing language and how it impacts the debates we're having around mandating vaccines?
Yeah, so it's super interesting. I think 2 things are going on. Number one, I think that the Biden administration is dealing with the loss on the workplace mandate in the Supreme Court and the unpopularity of its COVID policy. And my sense is that they are trying to take a little bit of a softer policy here. The booster, by the way, has been much less popular, even though 3/4 of Americans have gone out there and gotten 2 vaccination shots or the single Johnson & Johnson shot. Only in California, 36% of Californians had gotten the booster as of a few weeks ago. Around the country, the rate from state to state goes from states with as low as 15% of the people taking the booster, as high as 51%. But I think this is not a popular one, and I think that's part of what's going on. And I think the other thing that Director Walensky is reflecting is that we're in a long fight here. As you mentioned, going from pandemic to endemic. And so the booster is a very short-term discussion, and having a more broad definition of just being up to date with whatever the requirements are is probably a standard that's going to last a lot longer as we learn more and more about COVID.
Exactly. And as we adapt to probably seeing the vaccine as something like your flu shot, right? It's just something that, you know, they manufacture a new one every year to match more closely to the strain that they believe is going to be the biggest problem. All right. Healthcare attorney Harry Nelson, always great having you on the show. Thanks for joining us.